Good afternoon. Welcome to our show. I'm your host, Melissa Ridgen. It's a relationship best described as it's complicated. The relationship between First Nations communities and the dogs who call those communities home. Today we are putting res dogs in focus. Responsible animal care and population control, the good vet services and animal rescues, and the bad. People who have lost pets because visitors come in and think that a roaming dog is just up for grabs. We've got a whole bunch of guests on today's show to talk about res dogs and some interesting work that's being done across the country to keep dogs safe and happy and healthy. And some words of warning about rescues that aren't operating in a respectful way. We, of course, all have come across these agencies. And, of course, it's a call-in show, so you can join our conversation. Our phone lines are open. You can call us toll-free, 1-877-647-2786, or you can comment on our Facebook Live feed on APTN National News Facebook page. Before I introduce you to our guests here, I want to introduce you to a one-woman powerhouse who's made animal welfare her priority in Swan Lake First Nation. It's located 2 hours southwest of Winnipeg. Shelly Green saw a need, animals that weren't being cared for, the dog population was getting out of control, dogs were getting into trouble, and others were dying. Like Scarlett, a pit bull mix who'd won Shelly's heart, so began her rescue efforts. Watch.
I started Scarlett's in January of 2019 after the death of Scarlett. She wasn't my dog. She was a pit bull on the reserve, and there was times we'd pick her up, bring her home, back to her home, and the day I found out she was killed, it's still hard. But yeah, it was after that I decided to start a rescue and try and do something. I started off with nothing, just nothing at all. I just opened the page, Scarlett's Rescue. I posted these 3 dogs, and I was hoping somebody would see it. I started adding my friends, and then the people started seeing, so they started asking to join. More just an animal guardian watching over, asking people if they need to surrender their animals, if they need help with these animals. We've given out collars, we've given out food that when they had nothing. We've rescued over 90 dogs, 73 cats. The band members, they reach out to me, they ask if, they say, I need help, I can't take care of my dog anymore. So what I'll do is I'll go over, I'll ask them to send me pictures of their dogs, and then I get a surrender form, and then I contact, I make a thread, it's a chat thread, and I add a couple of rescues, a couple of ladies from a rescue, and then from there we start off, they add the foster, and then when they get the rescue, they add the rescuer, then we make plans of where we drop them off for a foster. They stay in the city till they get all their vaccines. A rescue came to the reserve and they took dogs. They're still running, and I will not work with them. Because personally, one of them was my friend who had a little dachshund, and they took her dog, and they also took her mom's dog with a promise of returning the dog, and they never did. Her dog was 7 years old, so he's probably already passed. But yeah, they've taken dogs. But now with the rescue here, they don't need outside help. All the dogs on the reserve, even the grouchy ones, I just adore them.
I love the little bark at the end there. Joining us now, APTN News reporter Kathleen Martins. She recently broke several stories about questionable rescue organizations and stolen family pets passed off as these sob stories on rescue sites, some of whom are charging $600 and more for these rescues, right? Because it's super woke to have the cachet of being one of those people who has a rescue. It's so reconciling, right? Kathleen, we've been talking about the res rescue racket. Ooh, I like that, res rescue racket. Since we were at APTN Investigates together. Yeah, it's been like a decade in the making.
I know. We would see pictures of I remember seeing a little boy sitting in the back of his dad's truck. Somebody took my dog. You know, seeing that, saying, what's going on? But you know, there are so many important issues on First Nations that took precedence over dogs until I got a call from a guy called Grant Lewis. He is, you mentioned the word powerhouse earlier. This guy does it all too for his community. And he called me and he said, you know, I think it's time for you to do a story on this issue. And I said, well, why? What happened? And he said, you know what? These rescues, they're all over Facebook. They tell you that they are helping First Nations. And he said, so I reached out to them for help. I'm a First Nations person. In the end, he lost his dog, Pickles. I did a story about it.
I know.
And it opened up this world of these rescues that are from the south that come to these communities that are in the north. And it's a clash of culture, it's a clash of values, and there's, because of social media, there's so much judgment, there's mean-spiritedness, there's hate, and it's turned into, instead of people learning from each other and about each other, how best to help each other, it's turned into he said, she said, and we've chronicled in a lot of these stories over this summer about real problems, real issues, and, you know, between these groups.
You tell us a story about a little girl named Raina at Cross Lake.
For sure. So her teacher reached out to me. She'd read the story, seen the story about Grant and Pickles, and said, well, have I got a story for you? Because in this case, it was a different community, Cross Lake, in northern Manitoba, and she said, you don't want to get Cross Lakers mad, you know, because we're going to fight. And they have been fighting. They've been fighting since June to get 2 family pets back. One belonged to Raina. His name is Cujo. He's like a shepherd mix, just a sweetheart of a dog. In fact, this litter, Cujo's sister is with like a family's cousins, and you know, like a whole bunch of people in Cross Lake have dogs from the same family, right?
Yeah.
And so this rescue came in. They put posters up. They let people know we're in town. We're going to be picking up stray dogs. If you don't want your dog picked up, keep it in the house. Makes sense. But you know, a couple of dogs that even had collars on were taken, and it was a mistake. We all make mistakes, but when the group was notified it was a mistake, that's when the trouble really began, because it seemed like there wasn't a lot of push to reunite these 2 family pets, Cujo and another dog named Sammy.
We're looking at pictures now. There is obviously, there was a reunification that happened.
Right. I'll let you, like, I think we're going to look at a video, right?
Well, yeah. Well, let's see. So this, I mean, if you want to, we were talking about people who've lost their pets here to these rescue organizations, well-meaning, do good. But take a look at this video by Raina, whose dog was one of those dogs that was scooped by this rescue organization.
Thinking of my dreams just made me think more of him and how much I love him. And I hope whoever has my dog will give me my dog back, because I really want my dog. You don't know how much I want him, and well, like, doesn't it feel good to love your dog? Doesn't it feel good to cuddle with your dog? But I don't even know how that feels no more, because I don't know how that feels. Like when I see one single dog or 2, I think about Cujo.
So that was Raina from Cross Lake. She did get Cujo back. We saw a picture before we saw that video of her reunion with Cujo. Terry. Joining us now is Andrea McIver. She volunteers with Rescue Organization in Cross Lake. She is Raina's teacher who had initially tipped you off to that story. Andrea, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How are you?
Kind of teared up after listening to that video.
Oh, well, you know, I'm curious. You've seen Cross Lake apparently is kind of ground zero for the good, the bad, and the ugly of these animal rescues. Was Raina's is she the only time that somebody's come in and taken somebody's pet, or has this happened before?
Oh no, this has happened in our community before, and it's happened quite a bit. It was a very long time even before I had help with our a rescue that comes in. We finally have a good rescue that actually listens to people and asks questions. And instead of coming in and saying, here, this is what we're going to give you, take it and be happy for it.
Right.
They come in and they say, hi, how can we help your community? How can we build something here? How can we help you gain access to services you don't have? And they're pretty fabulous.
That's the
Manitoba Animal Alliance.
I was just going to say Manitoba Animal Alliance, who works with you up in Cross Lake, and also works with Shelly Green, who we had seen at the beginning of the show on the video from Swan Lake. So we're going to be talking to Deborah from Manitoba Animal Alliance. I just wanted to know, I think we have a caller. Andrew, are you there?
Yes.
Andrew, you're calling from Long Plain?
Yes. My experience with the animal people, I surrendered 7 dogs to them, but on September 30th, my dogs went missing. They were taken off their lead ropes and the collars removed. A week later, the pictures showed up on the internet, and they told me where they went, to the Humane Society in Winnipeg. They would not contact me until 10 days passed. So they finally contacted me, and just to tell me that the dogs are gone. They're gone to a different family.
Oh, how long have you had the dogs?
The kids around here have been crying for weeks.
Oh my God. Andrew, you know what? Stay on the line here. We're going to get your phone number from you, and Kathleen Martins will give you a shout, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I want to go now to Deborah Vandercove from Manitoba Animal Alliance. You just heard Andrea saying that they finally, across Lake, after having a lot of duds up there, working with some organizations that are, less than scrupulous, finally found a good organization to work with that goes into the community saying, what do you need? How can we help you? And that's kind of the foundation of the relationship. Deborah, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm glad that we could finally catch up here and chat about this. We've been going back and forth about this issue for a while.
Yes, and sorry you missed the Cross Lake Clinic. We were looking forward to having you.
We were so looking forward to go up to Cross Lake, too. Cross Lake had a spay and neuter clinic. How many dogs did you guys put through up there? And we blame COVID, of course, because we're living in weird times. But
very weird times. Very difficult when it comes to going up north for us. I think we fixed 83 dogs. I think surgeries. We had some other surgeries that we did as well. Tumor removal. We had one of the dogs had an eye removed. We had other dogs that needed to be knocked out and clipped and cleaned from various injuries. I think in total we saw about 107 dogs with vaccines as well, because we have folks that fixed their pets last year. So we give them a call before the clinic and we let them know we're coming back, and to remind them that they need their yearly vaccines. So we had them come in as well to get their yearly vaccines and health checkup and tapeworm medication as well. So we saw actually quite a few dogs for the amount of time that we were there.
I want to go to Andrea, who had lots of great things to say about the work that you do with Manitoba Animal Alliance. Andrea, so can you, I want you to walk us through, how you got in touch with this organization and what sort of advice you would have for other communities who are looking to get their dog population healthy, under control. What advice do you have for them so they can get into a relationship like with what you have with Manitoba Animal Alliance? Of course, not everybody's in Manitoba who watches the show, so.
The first bit of advice I'd say is please avoid the Lost Boys Hope Rescue in Ontario. That's the organization we've had so much problems with. Okay. But I think the biggest bit of advice I'd have is to make sure that leadership is on board in your community and that there's an agreement signed before people come in.
Okay. And how much this can't be cheap. Who's paying for all, are the bands paying for this, or is this fundraise, to fix all these critters and the travel?
This has all been fundraising. When Sammy and Cujo went missing, Hillary and Raina wanted their dogs back. Mm-hmm. So because I have a background in fundraising as a teacher, we started fundraising. We had pizza bun sales, we sold Pepsi, we got donations locally. When I started talking about it online, my friends and family is like, can I send you some money? The next thing you know, the story got picked up by APTN, and people all over Canada, all over North America are sending us money. So with Raina's dog, we raised $1,420 between pizza bun sales and donations. And that's what paid for the transport and paid for the medical bills and paid back Lost Boys Hope for their $225 they spent on bedding. That's how we made the money. And we also have a fund going for Sammy's return. So we're still very hopeful that Sammy's going to be returned. Somebody somewhere has to do the right thing.
Yeah. Well, and if somebody wants to contribute to Sammy's return, how would they do that?
If somebody wanted to contribute to Sammy's return, they could probably look online for my my profile. Right now, I'm holding just over $1,400 in trust for Sammy's return. Okay. There's another group out there who has fundraised over $800. So we could pay for this dog's vet bills. We could pay to get this dog back. Sammy's a family member. Her family just has, now they have 2 children. Hillary just had a baby. Oh, wow. So there's a lot.
We'll make sure people know how to get connected. We'll put that on our website, how you can contribute if you're interested in doing so. Thanks so much. We have to take a break, but when we come back, we've got 3 people who are doing various amounts of work in their provinces, protecting res dog populations, trying to keep them under control and healthy. Stay with us.
Currently, we work with 21 First Nations in the province, and it's all through collaboration and invite. So our organization is contacted by someone in leadership or someone in the community who is concerned about the animals, and then our organization comes out and talks to the community about what it is we can help with.
Join our conversation now. Call in toll-free at 1-877-647-2786. Like us on Facebook on our APTN News page. Follow or tweet us at APTN InFocus. And send your thoughts to infocus@aptn.ca.
Welcome back. Let's go to social media now with our social media editor, Jesse Andrushko, to hear what some of you guys are saying and share a little bit of your res dog love with us.
Thanks, Melissa. Online, we asked you to send in your res dog pictures. Here's a look at what we received. From Yellow Cloud Woman on Twitter, my dog Victor, after attacked by a loose res dog, still smiling after losing an eye. He is res tough. Let's take a look at that picture.
Oh.
Next, from Darlene. From Pucktawagging, a Cree dog. She's a spirited res dog that does what she wants, when she wants, and how she wants. Next, from Fern, our non-status wolf res dog from Hyla. He has a shepherd head from his mother. The rest is all red wolf. He is a gentle giant, smart, sensitive, and we are so blessed by him. Hyla Harley is his name. And lastly, from Carly, my pup from Iwichu, James Bay region. Her name is Gilly from Game of Thrones. Sorry, Gilly. If you'd like to add your opinion to our topic of conversation, here's how. Join our conversation now. Call in toll-free at 1-877-647-2786. Like us on Facebook on our APTN News page. Follow or tweet us at APTN InFocus. And send your thoughts to infocus@aptn.ca.
Let's head to Alberta now, where a vet clinic went on the road to Cold Lake First Nation to spay and neuter pets. APTN's Chris Stewart was there when the clinic was in action.
Dogs and cats are arriving at this temporary animal hospital on the Cold Lake First Nation. A drive-through has been set up. Residents can drop off their dogs and cats to have the animals spayed or neutered for a donation. Veterinarian volunteers also vaccinate, check for parasites, and tattoo an ID to make the pets easy to find if they are lost. RJ Baylot is the executive director of the Canadian Animal Task Force, a Calgary-based charity. The task force goes to communities that ask for help in controlling the pet population. They have been to 21 First Nations in Alberta in their 15-year history. Baylot says the program could not work without the many passionate volunteers.
So we have over 400 volunteers that help us out, and they travel throughout the province to support the communities and help with their animals. They're 3-day long clinics, so people are leaving their families, they're leaving home because they see the importance of doing these types of clinics. They see the impact it has in the community.
The 3-day clinic here was able to spay, neuter, vaccinate, check for parasites, and tattoo 185 animals. They were also able to rehome 80 dogs and cats. Since they started 15 years ago, they have spayed and neutered 16,000 cats and dogs and rehomed over 6,000. Due to COVID, this was the only clinic held this year. They say they plan to be back up to full speed next spring. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Cold Lake, First Nations.
Very cute. One of the people who made that happen is RJ Bayo from the Canadian Animal Task Force. He joins us now from Calgary. Joining us too from Saskatoon is Leah Arcan. She runs the Facebook page Save Res Dogs. It's an Indigenous grassroots call to action to help res dogs. They fundraise, provide resources from animal control, and do workshops in communities. And from Kamloops, BC, we have Joanne Caldwell with Spirit Mission, an organization that pairs with remote or isolated or underserved BC First Nation communities to create long-term sustainable animal management plans for the health and safety of people and animals. I want to start with you, RJ. So we just saw your folks in action there. You've been doing this since 2007. Just this year already, you've helped 472 animals. I'm curious, how many communities is your organization working with, and where?
Yeah, so right now we work with over 20 First Nations communities throughout the province. So we go as far up north as the Fort Mackay First Nation, and then as far south as the Blood Tribe First Nation. So we spread ourselves throughout the province.
Leah, when we had spoke about how you got involved in Save Res Dogs, you had said that you taught land-based learning, and you shared with me part of the teachings that you had about the relationship with dogs. Can you share that with our audience?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Leah Arcan. I'm a member from Muskeg Lake Cree Nation, and I'm a teacher. So a lot of things just sort of lined up. I was teaching a land-based program. I adopted a few dogs, and I was seeing a lot of free-roaming dogs, sometimes mostly unclaimed dogs, come around to the school, which would result in a safety issue. So I incorporated taking care of dogs into my classroom with my students, so we could start to reframe the narrative in our communities about res dogs, and sort of getting rid of the stereotypes and start educating ourselves. So I was learning a lot as I was going along, and I started to just help as many dogs as I could through my social media, and that's when I started the hashtag Save Res Dogs. And my friends and family were very helpful in giving me donations and sharing posts and helping rehoming things. So it started and it is very much at a grassroots level, where me and my partner just opened our doors to res dogs. And it's just sort of led to another thing where I started a Facebook page during my mat leave, because there wasn't a lot of Indigenous owned dog rescues that I knew of. So, and when I was starting to help res dogs, word kind of got out, and people would come to me just for any kind of thing res dog related. So I felt it was necessary just to keep this platform growing. So I started a website. For those who aren't on social media, I'm on Twitter and Instagram, just to start to educate and advocate for res dogs. People sort of think that I do spay neuter clinics, which I don't. I donate to those causes, but I feel like there's a lot of work that needs to be done on the education and advocate level in our communities and with our rescues as well. So now I started a clothing label, clothing company, or whatever, just to raise more money for the cause and build awareness. And it's just sort of taken a life on its own, and I'm just super thankful for all the support.
I think everybody needs to have some res dog apparel. We're looking at it right now. I now have something to put on my Christmas wish list. I would like the yellow one. Joanne, what advice do you give to communities? You do a lot of animal management planning. What advice do you give to communities? Not, many wouldn't be in BC where you could help them, but realize that there's these problems in the community that exist in terms of what do we do with the animals? Of course, everybody, a dog cull is the last thing anybody wants, right? So what advice do you have for people who, want to kind of get things under control a little better in their communities and get a healthy animal population?
Right. So one of the things that's important to us is that we do realize that dog calls happen, and it isn't because people don't love their dogs or the dogs are roaming and causing trouble. It's more about the animal management side, as you saw. So we go into communities at the invite of chief and council, and we take our direction from them.
Right.
We don't have a right to go onto the reservation without permission. And when you're talking about quote unquote bad rescues, chances are they're not going through chief and council, and we have to take our direction from them. They have the right to do what they do on their lands. We don't have a right to come in and tell them what to do. So we ended up working with International Fund for Animal Welfare, who has tested the programs worldwide. And then we also have worked with the Canadian Animal Task Force, which is RJ and his staff, who have mentored us to implement a successful program like they do in Alberta.
I want to go back to RJ. So tell me, RJ, you've been in this business, like I said, since 2007. I'm sure that it's not news to you when I tell you that there are some really crappy, unscrupulous rescue groups out there. Is this something that the good ones are policing, or is it self-policed?
Well, it is self-police, and we're fortunate in Alberta that we have so many reputable organizations that we do collaborate with. So it's really important to us that the groups that we do work with have pre-established relationships in the communities that they work, so that they're being there by invite. They have a good rapport in the community, and that they follow a similar philosophy as our organization, and that the approach is a community-based approach. It's a collaborative effort with the community. And that we're working with the community members. So there's no perception of theft. All animals that are signed over, there's an owner that signs over their dog if they choose to relinquish them. So we want to, because we've run into that over the years. We definitely have run into situations where there's groups that go out into communities and they take dogs without permission. They go out into communities, they pick up puppies, and they drive away. And for us, we really always want to echo the message of how important it is that everything is based by the invite of the community and with the requests of the community. So when our organization collaborates with a community, we have signed consent forms. So every animal that, whether we're treating it for vaccines or getting the dog spayed or helping them find a new home, we have an owner sign over that animal so that we know when we leave the community that we've done due diligence and ensuring that the appropriate owner is releasing the animal.
Leah, I'm curious for your take on this. Kathleen and I have been talking about, this, how it's sort of hip and trendy now to have that cachet of being able to tell your friends how super woke and hipstery you are, that you have a res rescue. And that, I think, has probably fueled some of these organizations that are out there, kidnapping people's dogs and selling them for $600, $700, $800, $1,000. What's your take on this, res rescue-y trend that's going on across the country?
I mean, I think there is a need for the res rescues, and I could hear that they are taking what the community wants, which is great, but I also find sometimes the communities and the ones in Saskatchewan that I've talked to don't really know what they want. They just want dogs taken away, and so that kind of gives rescue sort of like a free all to do, I don't know what they want, but I know there is a need for rescues when it's done ethically and communities are educated on options, and you know, it's more than just, you know, scooping up dogs and taking them away or else they'll be shot. There's just a lot of educating on proper dog ownership, and, you know, our leadership have to, like, help our owners be the best owners they can be by providing the services and bringing people in instead of just relying on res rescues. So it also includes vet clinics as well to come in and help educate our community leaders to help our people, and because the youth are really watching and they're kind of thinking, oh, it's normal that all this behavior is happening when it's really not okay. And that's where like my teaching hat comes in and just sort of breaking that cycle and reframing that narrative for dogs.
I love it.
And the discourse. So with rescues as well, I think there also needs to be some cultural sensitivity training as well for those who come into our communities, and because
you're not going to see dogs that are treated the same way.
Where dogs,
yeah, sorry, I was just saying, you're not going to see dogs that are treated the same way on a reserve. They're out running, you know, it's not that they're in a yard or necessarily being taken for a walk. But, you know, and Kathleen and I had been discussing this too. This is, but this isn't just, you know, for res dogs. Farm dogs live an entirely different life than city dogs. And we don't see people out there scooping the farm dogs, right?
No.
Yeah,
I just wanted to add,
so it's really
okay
reframing
that
everything on rescue levels as well.
RJ, sorry, you wanted to say something? Sorry, there's a little delay. It makes it a little challenging.
Yeah. I couldn't hear. What did he say?
Did you have something to add there, RJ?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I think one of the things it's that we've run into that exact same scenario often, where a community will reach out to us and they're not exactly sure what it is they want help with. They'll say, we have several free roaming dogs, we just want the dogs dealt with. And I think it is the responsibility of the organization that's going to work with the community to get a really good understanding of what the issues are in the community and what exact measures need to take place to help the overall dog population. So not just by removing dogs, because we know that doesn't work. By just removing puppies and dogs here and there, we know that doesn't actually address humane, proper dog management. There's so many more components. And I think once you really dive deep and have those conversations with the community on all levels to really understand what the issues are in the community, then you can really work towards you know, an effective, sustainable program where there's several elements to ensure that this isn't a long time problem, that you do have some plans to help manage it over the coming years.
Yeah. I want to give Joanne an opportunity to jump in here. What do you have to say on that topic?
Well, I'm going to bounce off what Leah said, because she made some incredibly insightful ideas about working in reservations with dogs. One of them is that in BC, we have, in our group, everyone has to take cultural sensitivities in order to work in our communities. We also have an organization of rescues called the Animal Advisory Network of BC. And this is where reputable rescues come together, and we are setting standards of rescues on what they can and can't do and what makes the rescue trustworthy. And anyone can go to that organization and say, we need help. Who do we go to for A, B, C, and D? Leah also talked about people not knowing what they wanted other than scoop the dogs and leave. This is an opportunity where we can come in and we can lay out for them tools and resources about how to best manage their populations and create plans. We believe that dogs are best left in their community, and we accept that community dogs are part of the culture. We need to respect that.
I love it. Do we have time here? Do we have to go to a break right now, Beverly? Mm-hmm. Okay, I wanted to do, Leah, this is from your Facebook page, Save Res Dogs. We've got some tips for people. I think we have a graphic of that.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. So these tips just sort of me and my partner came up with just based on our personal experience fostering dogs.
Okay,
and
give us number one.
Just thinking, number one? Oh, on the posters? Sorry, it's hard because I can't see. It's commit to taking action, really. That's the main thing that we need for res dogs, is people to actually commit and stay committed.
Okay, so then we've got, make a community Facebook page was another one of the tips.
Yes.
I can't remember
and that
what
is really helpful for dog owners to keep each other accountable as well.
This is...
and dog alerts as well.
Sorry, to go on about the dog alerts, we have a really awkward delay between the studio and you here. Tell us about the dog alerts.
No, sorry. I just... community Facebook pages will keep people aware of whose dog is let out, or who's traveling with a dog, or what dog needs a ride. Mm-hmm. Just kind of anything so people can help each other. And that sort of changes that mindset of always trying to rely on chief and council and people at the band office, where it really needs to take a community effort to help dogs.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to go to another break. Thanks for that. Thanks all three of you for joining us. Lots of great advice and wisdom there. When we come back, we're going to hear from two Stoney Nakoda filmmakers who made a full-length feature documentary about res dogs, including one whose dog was stolen, put up for adoption by one of these res rescues. Stay with us.
I did actually found their dogs in Humane Society in Cochrane, and I thought, hey, that dog is my uncle's dog. Yeah, and they said, yeah, some guys just drop it off. They said it was a lost dog. No, it's not lost.
Welcome back. Morley, Alberta sits along Highway 1A just outside of Calgary, and for years people have reported that their pets, dogs in particular, seem to go missing and often taken by people who seem to think it's just okay to go to a First Nation and take whatever dogs that they see roaming freely. It was such a problem that the Nakoda Audio-Visual Club did a full-length documentary on the topic called Ahomipe, Relations and Res Dogs, Ahomipe meaning respect. Take a look.
This is Jack, my res dog. He's kind of a little weirdo, but it feels like he's part of me now, because he has an incredible story to tell, and I'm the one who's sharing that story.
Ne, mini, ni, ne. Individuals.
Dogs play a huge part. They're like a family member. We love them so much.
Dogs are very loyal to us, and they stick by us no matter what. and we, the owners of the dogs, are loyal to them, and we just love them.
My dog went missing, and I thought he ran away. I went into this rescue agency's website. He didn't run away. They stole him. It wasn't right, you know? I loved my dog, and they had no right to steal him.
So Jarrett, Timon, and Amber, two young men, are two people who were involved in the video that we just saw with the Nakota AV Club. I had a chance to speak with them earlier this week. Here's a look. So Jarrett, tell us what was going on in your community in Morley when you guys decided at the Audio Video Club to make this film.
So when I actually was told that there were dogs stealing, and Amber was suggesting that we should make a doc film about it, and then I have no idea at that time that because a lot of people actually live in close to the highways, and the people from the reserve that they're actually getting their dogs taken like almost every day. And I have no idea that that was happening because I actually live far from the highway that the people from the city taking dogs, and they keep them, or they just like put them to shelters like Humane Society. And so they asked if they want to do a film for that, for taking dogs. And I thought, you know, that's a great idea. And so we just like began to like did our research and who to talk to and who we can actually go to, and that's how they kind of create that the documentary to do what it's supposed to do, because I never actually done any film documentary before, and I never done anything like that. Even it's a feature lengths, and then I never done any feature lengths before. And it was a really something that I never thought that would actually possible that in AV Club would create. It's really new, something that I never thought it would actually be possible, but it was.
I love it. And Amber, so you're in this film. You helped produce the film as well. Your family pet actually was taken back in 2013. It's an incredible story. Can you share that with our audience?
Well, it happened when Marley disappeared, and this is the first time I've ever heard of people taking animals, and I thought, like, first I thought Marley was taken by like a wild creature or like a cougar or something like that. So we went to go look for him. We didn't find any remains or any like indication that he was attacked by a wild animal, and we thought that maybe he'll come back because dogs wander in the reservation, and it's normal for them. They live freely. It's a normal thing, and we thought he was going to come back. And then I was hearing about people getting their animals taken, so curiosity led me to this rescue group. I looked through all their posts, and I saw a picture of Marley there, and I was thinking, why is he on here? And underneath the caption, they said he was mistreated, unloved, alone, hungry, scared. And I'm like, that does not sound like Marley. Marley is, he was our dog, and didn't sound like him. He wasn't mistreated. He wasn't unloved. He was just wandering like how dogs do, and it was a shock that he was actually taken, because I never knew people do that. So it shocked me. I didn't know what to do. I saw all the comments underneath the discrimination.
Yeah, tell us about some of the comments and how you felt as you're reading, you know, the alleged abuse of your dog that didn't happen, but just, you know, them trying to pull at the heartstrings, I guess, of people to adopt the dog or to donate to their cause. But as you're sitting there, you were a young girl at the time. You know, how did you? What was some of the things that were said, and how did you feel?
It was hurtful. It was like having all these people you don't know saying things about you and your dog, and saying like, oh, these people shouldn't have pets if they can't take care of them. I mean, Marley wasn't untaken care of. He was taken care of, and it just made me feel guilty, even though I shouldn't be. I mean, Marley lives around here. I live by the 1A. It's people throw out garbage, and he goes down there to, sniff it out like how dogs do. And it was just really hurtful.
Do you feel that, like, when you were looking at those comments, do you feel that a lot of people who aren't familiar with life on the res, maybe they don't understand that this is just normal for dogs to be out kind of roaming? It's not the same as...
Yeah, definitely.
I wanted to ask Jarrett if this film touches on the historical relationship of the Nakota people with dogs. What did you learn about this, Jarrett?
I've learned that our sunga, our dogs, are very important. I've learned so much about how they actually really guard dogs, how they protect the camp, how they actually really they really look into, like, there's equal as in the horse and the dog. Both of them are the same thing that we looked into. And they actually, one of my uncles, great uncles, actually got his name from a dog. Well, actually, the chief called him the dog tail. And so it was really interesting to hear all these things, all these stories that from the interview that I actually had to kind of use the most important ones. And there's more story into it. And then I thought dogs are the most important thing in the world because they're like the best friends. And one of the elders were saying, yes, if you actually mourn, and the dog will sit beside you and there for you. And I do have 2 res dogs, and I've been one of them name's Jack. I have him for 10 years now, and one of them is Hazel. He's like 5 years now. So yeah, it's a really accomplished. I mean, I never thought that this dog would be a best friend of mine. Yeah, that's what they were talked about, and that was so great.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to you, Amber. So you saw Marley on the Facebook page of a rescue group. Was young, too scared to respond, especially after seeing the nasty comments that were on there about how the dog must have been ignored and what horrible owners would have had the dog. You never did get Marley back, but I've heard that you guys are kind of de facto animal rescuers there now after making this film. You help other people who are in similar circumstances having their dogs taken?
We do. I'm honestly, I've heard the stories of people coming up to the AV club asking, hey, my dog's on the rescue. And I've seen people get their dogs back. And I think Jared has a better example.
Yeah, Jarrett was telling me. So, Jarrett, you've actually gone and paid the rescue fee to get people's dogs back. How many dogs have you rescued now?
Right now it's 3 of them, and one of them is my uncles, my aunties, and they just usually just call me and say, hey, my dog is gone, and I was wondering if you can call some people and look for my dog. And I'll be more like, yeah, I am actually really working on a film right now, but I will actually look into it. And I did actually found their dogs in Humane Society in Cochrane, and I thought, hey, that dog is my uncle's dog. Yeah, and they said, yeah, some guys just drop it off. They said it was a lost dog. No, it's not lost. It's just wandering around everywhere because they don't. The dogs are pretty much they explore everywhere, everywhere. That doesn't mean that dog is stolen. My dog was almost taken by people too, because me and the film club, we were cleaning up in a huge place that I let my dog wander everywhere, and while we're cleaning this garbage, and And he went to the gas station. We're just near the gas station, and then this woman just like tried to take my dog, and one of my cousins just stopped this person, like, hey, that's my cousin's dog. You can't do that. And so it does that a lot. They take dogs as soon as they see they think they gotta need help, which is hilarious.
Well, people just don't know, I guess, the tale of a res dog. Thank you guys both for taking time out of your day to join us.
Thank you.
Of course.
Great to talk to all of them. We're all out of time. I thank you, Kathleen, for coming. This is the first time I've had somebody in studio with me for so long.
My pleasure to be here.
And of course, all of our guests who joined us via Skype, and you for watching. Next week, we're going to be talking about harvesting rights. There is a lot going on, obviously, from coast to coast to coast, with lobster fishing, salmon stocks, old growth forest, management moose. We'll hit all of it. I'm Melissa Ridgen. Thanks for joining me. Don't forget, InFocus is a great podcast. Put it on, go about your business. You can find a whole library at aptnnews.ca/podcast. Have a great afternoon.